I forgot my coffee. Sometimes you need just that one last little thing to make everything just right. Equalization. Cohesive feel. I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about right now. What I do know is that I like to put an equalizer pedal after drive or after my preamp. So first thing in the effects loop, a rule I learned back in the studio days was compress and then EQ. That's kind of what I'm doing really, is everything that's compressed gets compressed and then EQ. You can, of course, put an EQ earlier in your chain, like right after your guitar. If you're using a compressor, I still recommend going compression and then EQ and then into everything else. I'm going to show you 3 of my kind of tricks for using an equalizer pedal in a situation like this. I just want to say right off the bat, iSet sent that along. I am not being paid to say anything. They didn't ask me to say nice things about the pedal. They just said, hey, let me know what you think about it. And I'm gonna do that right now, and I'll let you guys know right now too. I have it after all of my drive sounds, but before my delays, before my reverb. So coming out of the Tone X1 pedal, I do have a tube screamer pulled up right there. And I have 2 different states of the amp going right now. It's pretty much just a high gain 5150 kind of a thing, so we can, do the Brown thing a little bit here. Each one of these sliders has a little detente, which is nice. So I can easily feel, almost not even look, and kind of feel real subtly when it's at the midpoint, when it's not affecting it at all at that frequency range. Obviously, I have 4 different gain stages going on. So if I bring the guitar volume down even more, it'll clean it up. That's just pure tone. The way I have it set up right now is I've got 630, which is going to be kind of your middle. That's why it's right in the middle. This pedal to me has some of the most essential frequencies that you can really get in guitar. Now, I like anywhere from 400 to around 600 to kind of clean up a little bit of the mud of a dirtier kind of an amp sounds. I can dial it in nice and beefy and get the guitar and the amp pushing, and then turn this on and have some of that mud go away. Now, one thing I have noticed, depending on your core tone, you might not feel the EQ move right away. But the really nice thing about this little guy is, you see that number 18 down there? That means it's got 18 decibels of reductive or additive equalization per frequency there. And then it slams coming out of here. This output, I actually have to bring my volume down a little bit at the preamp in order to really fully demonstrate how loud that will get. So I'll get to that in just a little bit. And then, of course, you can make it even louder by pushing all of those frequencies up. I'm not going to do that to you. Don't worry, okay? If I engage it with the volume at noon, you're going to hear it get a little bit quieter. So that's trick number 1. Let's say you have like a beefy, nice lead tone. And you want to get quieter. Engage the pedal. There's a rhythm sound. You want to duck down behind your singer a little bit, just turn it on, and you can EQ then to taste. Sometimes when you just reduce the volume after a preamp, it starts to sound a little flat, or it starts to sound maybe a little bit like this. You can get in there and tweak the bass, add a little more bottom. Right now I have just a little hint of top, a little 4K, which is going to be that presence area, and then it has a 1.6 which I really like 1.6. To me, when you're dialing in, you're fine-tuning a dirty amp, 2K is kind of the given. 1.6 is probably my preferred frequency for that treble range as opposed to 2K. 2K is fine. 1.6 is even finer in my eyes. I don't know what the Q is. It didn't really say what the range of the Q is. And I feel like the lower or higher you go, kind of broader or more open that Q is, that's probably also how it's going to react to a gainy channel. We'll listen to it on a clean amp at the end here, but it's brown. We want brown sounds, right? Okay, and besides, I got this on. That's number one, the first way to use it. Obviously, you wouldn't need that much rhythm with it on. Lead with it off. Quick trick, you can be your own sound guy when you're mixing and you have a very simple little setup with just one sound that you really like using. Or you're in a situation and you're thinking to yourself, man, sometimes I can't even hear myself sing because I love the way that my amp sounds when I have it dialed in so that I can play a lead. But then when I want to sing, I can't hear myself. Engage the CQ pedal and you can make it flat or you can tweak it just a little bit, whatever you want to do. That's salt and pepper for your ears. Now, how do I really, really like using it is to kind of get a beefier sound. And that's what I have dialed in right now. Got the tube screamer drive going out of the Zoom multi-stop, which I am having a lot of trouble with doing the MIDI thing. And then the basic sound that I have here now is going to be super beefy and crisp. I really like reductive EQ. I like to take a sound that I really like and then clean it up some with an EQ. So I've dropped these frequencies, and as we heard, it gets quieter at that point. So now to me, it feels the strings just kind of feel just a little more present under my fingers. Like everything just kind of has a little bit more of a dynamic sound, I guess, and feel. And this thing is not expensive. This is a great tool to have in your arsenal. So we've added just a touch of to it, but we've cleaned up this mid-range area, and then we can even add a little more beef and get that low end really going, you know? Just by moving the volume up and then now because we're adding more frequencies, you can see it started to really get loud when I engaged the pedal. So I had to back it back down a little bit. Now let's say we wanted to really kind of actually get more of a lead boost, like really, really bring ourselves into the mix. I'm going to go ahead and come down just a little bit in my preamp, because if you do this, you need to leave a little headroom wherever you are, okay? So I'm already pretty hot. I have to stop there because I'm just going to keep on going, but I have so much more room. You can see that thing is only at 3 o'clock right now. It'll go all the way over to there. So if I bring the volume of the actual amp down. So now we have a lead boost that we can sculpt. Let's just say, hey, it's a little too trebly. I want to go for a little bit, maybe more of a when I start my leads, as opposed to a real bright kind of a sound. Yeah. So you see what'll happen when you boost stuff, you get louder, you get feedback through your speakers, and that ish sounds good, right? I mean, you want it to sound good. I'm boosting the heck out of that 630 right there, and I'm still only halfway up that range. Plenty of range here. So let's listen to it in a clean amp just to kind of really get a better idea of what it sounds like, all right? 100, lots of beef and bottom. 250, you start to wander into that low end mud. 630 is the other side of the mud. So bringing them both down accordingly and just a little bit will kind of clean up the back end of a dirtier signal. If I go too high, it's going to really clip out again. So even just those frequencies, I'm going to start clipping out my recording. So you really got to watch that as you're tuning that. But remember, that's additive. Subtractive is going to take away those sounds. It's going to get quieter overall, especially in that range, obviously, right? Good way to tell what frequencies you want to kind of start to reduce is to boost them up a little bit and then play and go, okay, yeah, that's around the range where it's just wonky and nasty. I'm getting a nasty feel. Whereas if you don't get that, if you're really not getting much reaction either way, I would leave it flat because that means your amp is kind of not focusing too much on those frequencies, and it's not something you are really trying to push anyways if that's your core sound. Whereas if your core sound is a little bright or you want to add brightness to it, plenty of room here. 18 dB is obviously, you can hear it just doing a lot of work. that last bit there, I was really kind of using this as a boost, a post boost. Sometimes, if you use shimmer, I know a lot of people don't like shimmer at all, but if you're somebody that likes to use shimmer, sometimes it can get out of control feeling. It's a great way to just kind of reel it in some. That feels powerful. That's a good EQ iSet. That's a little mini dude that you just put on almost any board. That's going to go on my main board because I have this sideways one that I reviewed a while ago, and it has some frequencies that I like, but it's not amazing. It's not great, and it's always in the way. It's sideways, and it's weird. This is perfect. It's going to just fit right in the corner of my main board. So hopefully you guys could kind of get an idea of what I'm doing with this thing. Lots of range, lots of decibels, plus and minus either way. Me, I like to reduce first and then see what I need to add. But you could also just use this as a straight up volume boost, treble booster, by featuring maybe, just a little bit of that 1.6 and shaving off some of the other stuff around it. Maybe that's the way you like to run your amp. It just really hot and then focus something. That's how you could do something easy and quick like that. But this is a great little pedal. iSet, thank you guys for sending this along. A little pedal that has some of the most essential frequencies that can do the few tricks that I like to use an EQ for. It did the 3 of them that I really like perfectly. Turn everything down and still sound good. Turn everything up and have a nice, crisp, punchy kind of rhythm. Or just use it as a volume boost for taking your core tone and making it a lot louder right off the bat for a lead. Turn it off and then you're ducked back in. Do it the opposite if you already like your amp sound for your leads, but it's too loud and you need to reel it in when you're singing or if somebody else is singing. Turn on the EQ, find that sweet spot on the volume where you just duck back a little bit there, or just enough to stay out of the way of the singer. And you'll be saving your sound guy a lot of headache. It doesn't take 9-volt batteries, of course, but it does take almost any Boss style 9-volt power supply. Doesn't come with the power supply, but it's like $20. What are you going to do? A lot of range from it, a lot of output. I couldn't even demonstrate all of the output really fully without hitting it. Or going from a really quiet sound that you really wouldn't hear to then crushing your ears. So thank you guys. Hey, we hit 5K subscribers here at the channel. You guys are awesome. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. Having that number is something I just never really even imagined. I couldn't believe it a couple of years ago when I hit 1,000 of you wonderful people following me. And now having 5,000 of you Shredder Nights hanging out with me is really awesome. I'm doing a giveaway, so make sure you subscribe and you hit that notification bell so that you see the community announcement that should be popping up either before this video or right after this video. I'm going to ask you guys what night this week, Halloween week, you would like to do the live stream giveaway, where I am giving away one item from a video, and I'll be picking that winner live on the stream. But then I'm also going to give away a few other things just because you guys are awesome. So thank you very much for hitting subscribe the way that you have. If you keep seeing my face on different videos and you're going, hey, I keep seeing this guy, but I'm not subscribed, why don't you go ahead and subscribe, all right? I'd really appreciate it. Unless you just keep seeing my face and you're like, I'm so sick of him, get out of here. Hey, iSet, thank you guys. You all, I will see very soon.